Let me introduce myself. So this is Chamu. I have around 11 years experience in IT. Overall, 6.5 years experience in training. So I'm a corporate trainee, and I have delivered the multiple training for the different MNCs like Deloitte and UHG and Virtusa and Global Logic and PwC and EY. So almost all the MNCs have delivered the training for the AEM as a cloud services and remaining AEM cloud platforms also. So prerequisite to start this training, the candidate must have the basic knowledge on HTML and CSS side. Not mandatory, but at least basic knowledge is required to understand the AEM front-end part. So we can divide this entire training into two parts. One is AEM front-end part, and second one is AEM back-end part. So 50% of the time we'll spend to cover the AEM front-end concept. Remaining 50% will spend time to cover the back-end concept. But AEM front-end required at least basic knowledge on HTML side and CSS side. But in real time, we don't write HTML, CSS. So we'll have UI and UX team, or also called design team in the project development. They will provide the HTML and CSS and JavaScript. But at least we should be able to understand the existing CSS and JavaScript. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. At least you should be able to understand existing CSS and HTML and JavaScript. So that's why basic knowledge is required to start this training course. In the back end, it required Java. Java is required. Core Java is required. Core Java is required to start working on the AEM backend part. But we can't cover basic knowledge on HTML, CSS, and core Java in the live training because it required at least 35 hours to complete this core Java and HTML and CSS. So this entire training course, so we'll focus on AEM implementation, AEM backend and AEM backend and AEM frontend implementations only. And if you are interested to learn this core Java, if you are not familiar with this core Java, and we'll provide recorded session with free of cost only. Along with this AEM course, we'll provide recorded sessions on core Java, and this basic knowledge in HTML and CSS hardly will take 1 or 2 days of time to learn the HTML, CSS. Just refer any website, either 33schools.com or any video tutorial. Refer those video tutorials to learn this basic knowledge in HTML and CSS. But we can't cover this basic knowledge in HTML, CSS, and core Java concepts in the live training. So these are the prerequisites to start the learning this AEM course. The next step, so this is my course content. So we'll start with the introduction. Today is the introduction session. So as part of the introduction, I will cover what is CMS and why CMS, and why do you prefer AEM as a CMS platform, and what are the different advantages of the AEM. So this part we'll discuss as part of day 1. And I will show how to install AEM and how to deploy the sample project like Weekend. Weekend is one of the sample project, how to deploy the sample project in your local environments, and how to access these different consoles we'll discuss as part of day 3. And day 4 onwards, day 4 to day 10 is important concept in AEM front-end part, project setup, and core component implementation, and editable template implementation, dialog, design dialog, and edit config, and client library, Sling request processing, and HTL. So these concepts are very important concepts to start learning AEM because these are the fundamental concept, core concepts. So these are the fundamental concept and core concept. So these are the important concept and fundamental concept every AEM developer must know about these features. And as part of day 11, what are the concepts we learned so far, like day 4 to day 10? So we'll implement in real-time project. So in day 11, so day 11 means it will require at least 12 hours of time to start the day 11. So as part of this day 11, so I will show you how to implement these components and editable templates and dialogues and design dialogues in real time. So this is very small project. The project name is News Portal. As part of this project, I will cover all the real-time scenarios in basic concepts of AEM. And then again, resource merger, experience fragment, and content fragment. These three also part of AEM front-end part. I will cover how to implement reusable content in between the pages and templates, and how to export the data to the third-party services as part of these three concepts. So day 4 to day 14 is complete front-end part, AEM front-end part. It required at least 15 to 17 hours of time. 15 to 17 hours of time to complete day 1 to day 14, because HCL will take 2 days of time, and this project also will take 2 days of time. So to complete day 1 to day 14, at least 17 hours are required. So day 15 onwards, we'll start AEM backend. AEM backend. So if you're not familiar with the Java, at least 2 weeks of time you will have to learn the Java, because from day 1 to day 14, 17 hours are required, right? So in this time period, we don't need Java. Just basic knowledge on HTML and CSS is enough to start learning AEM front-end part. But to start learning the backend part, you must have the basic knowledge in core Java. Backend concepts start from day 15, OSCI, OSA component and services, and run modes, and Sling models, and servlets, and Sling APIs, event handlers, and schedulers. So these concepts are the core concept of the backend, including core basic and advanced concept I have added here. And then core components and query builder, SQL2. So these concepts also a part of the backend. Day 15 to day 25. Day 15 to day 25 is completely backend concepts. And then day 26 onward, these are the advanced concepts of AEM. It's very rare opportunity to work on these workflows and MSM and dispatcher setup as a AEM junior developer. Maybe if you are a senior AEM resource, in that case, you will get opportunity to work on this concept, workflows, MSM, and cloud dispatcher setup. Cloud dispatcher setup, and repository initialization, repo init repository initializer. So this is the new concept in AEM as a cloud services. So I will cover this Sling repo init and Sling repo init concept. And test cases is required for AEM as a cloud services. This is one of the mandatory concept, because while deploying code into the remote servers, so we must write at least 50% of the test coverage is required in the backend implementation. So these are the live training related concepts. And even we have some other concepts also, but these are the recorded sessions. I can't cover in the live training because time is 35 hours only. So to cover day 1 to day 30, it required 35 hours. But assets related, and this is one real-time project, and certification dumps also part of this drive. Even interview questions also we have added. So around 150 to 200 interview questions are added. So these interview questions are enough to crack the interviews as a senior AEM developer. As a senior AEM developer, these interview questions are enough to crack the interviews. And some assets related concepts also added as part of the recorded session. And capstone is one more real-time project. So as part of this drive, total 2 projects are available. One is news portal project and second one is capstone project. So both are real-time projects only. So after the training, if you want to go through this recorded session, just go through the recorded session and try to implement this requirement. So I have provided the requirement documents also. So these are the requirement documents, and HTMLs and PPTs are provided. By seeing this requirement document, if you are interested, you can implement this project your own. Or if you got stuck anywhere, you can watch these videos. Even we have recorded this project implementation video and uploaded into the drive. But this project we can't cover into the live session because it required at least 10 hours of time. But as part of the live sessions, I will cover this news portal project. In day 11, news portal project is there. So I will cover how to set up and how to implement this core concept in this project. But 2 projects are available. Only 1 project I will cover in the live training. Remaining, I will provide the recorded session. And if you are interested in certification, both developer certification and lead certification dumps are available. Even recently, one of my students already written, attended this developer and lead certification. So they are able to clear by using these dumps. So we'll provide this free of cost only, these dumps also. And the next concept is cloud manager. So this is also a new feature in AIM as a cloud services, but this is not technical side. So you should know, if you want to know how to create the new environment by using cloud manager, how to deploy the code, and how to debug the code by using the cloud manager, you can watch these videos. So even this video also I'm not covering in the live training, because it will take at least 2 hours of time to complete this cloud manager training. And GraphQL and Groovy script is not required for the regular development. If you are working on any headless CMS or migration project, these two concepts are required. These two concepts are required. In normal cases, these two concepts are not required. These are the advanced concepts. I have covered this GraphQL and Groovy script also as part of this drive. And the next one is Java. So around 30 videos are available in this drive. So you have to go through and you have to learn yourself this Java concept, because core Java is mandatory to start learning this AEM as a cloud services. And replication agent and RTE and Sling content distribution. This is also a new concept in AEM as a cloud services. So there are multiple new concepts: Sling content distribution and cloud manager and Sling repo init and dispatcher cloud setup. So these four are the new concepts in AEM as a cloud services. I will cover the new concepts also. Total 35 hours of training. So I have added the TOC here, table of content. So these are the concepts I will cover in the live training. Total 35 hours, 30 concept, 35 hours. And these are the recorded session, around 55 hours. The project 8 hours, cloud manager, Ruby script, replication agent, and Sling content distribution, RTE, and news portal project, and assets, total and Java videos. Total 55 hours of recorded sessions also will provide. So total around 90 hours of the sessions will provide. So once the payment part is done, so we'll provide this entire drive access, and we'll keep on updating the recorded sessions also. For example, today is day 1, right? So after completion of the day 1, so we'll upload the latest video into the day 1, and we'll give this complete drive access when the payment part is done. And if you go to this folders, AEM component folder, there is one zip file. This is an implementation and running notes and recorded session, and some documents also available, PDF documents also available, and PPTs also available. If you are interested, you can complete this task also. Task also created for the practice purpose, but we don't involve in the task session, because whether you are completed the task or not, so we don't track it. But if you are interested, we can complete this task on daily basis. So this is the content we'll provide as part of this training. For every drive contains multiple PDFs and PPTs and recorded session and running notes if required and tasks. So this is about the course content. So let me know if you have any questions in the course content side. So the main intention of this training is to crack the interviews and to involve in the project development and certification related. So these 3 parts will cover as part of this live training. Okay, so let me introduce what is CMS and why CMS is required and what are the advantages of the CMS. So this is brief introduction about the CMS platform. CMS full form is Content Management System. CMS full form is Content Management System. The purpose of the CMS is to create and manage the content. To create and manage the content. Next question is, what is content? So here content is nothing but text and asset. Content is nothing but text and assets. Text and assets. For example, if I go to any website, destco.com website. So I'm accessing destco.com website. This website also implemented with AIM as a cloud services only. So this entire website built with AIM as cloud services. So what are the content you are seeing on page? For example, this logo, this is one image, this is a content, and product is a text, and this is on the title also a text, and these images, image is also text, and these titles and descriptions. So everything is a text on this. Whatever the content you are seeing on this page, everything is a content on. So in simple terms, content is nothing but text and assets. So your assets is nothing but images, documents, and videos. Images, documents, and videos. So majority of the cases will display either text or assets on page. Either text or assets on page. Asset references and page references will display on page. So this content we can easily create with the CMS platforms. I'll give a small example with CMS and without CMS. So for example, the hindu.com website. So this is one of the news website. This is one of the popular news website. On daily, they will create 100 different articles. 100 different articles they will create. So every article is one web page. So for example, when you click on the resources or company, so when I click on about us, so this is one page, this is one web page. This is one web page. To build this web page, it required HTML file is required, and CSS is required, JS is required, and content also required. To build 100 articles mean, so they have to build 100 different web pages. 100 different web pages. So every web page is HTML. It requires CSS and JS, and some content also need to display on page. But this is UI developer responsibility. UI developer responsibility to create HTML files and CSS files and JS files. It's not AEM developer responsibility, it's UI developer responsibility. Let's say one UI developer is taking 4 hours of time to build this one web page. So that means to build 100 web pages, at least 50 UI developers are required. Let's say we are not using any CMS platform. This is plain HTML application. At least 50 UI developers are required to complete 100 web page creation on daily. An average salary of one UI developer is 50,000. At least 25 lakhs of money is required to maintain a development team. So here the cost is important factor. Maintenance cost is an important factor. And resources also, 50 different UI developers are required to create 100 web pages. 100 web pages, because on average, one UI developer is taking 4 hours of time to create 100 web pages. At least 50 UI developers are required. The cost of each developer is 50,000 per month. So total cost is 25 lakhs. And second drawback here is time. So here UI developer is taking 4 hours of time to create one web page. If there is a breaking news, if the UI developer is taking 30 minutes of time to build the breaking news web page, so after 4 hours, it won't become a breaking news. So time is very important factor here. So at least 4 hours of time is required for the development. So this time is used time. Sometimes the Hindu.com publishers need to publish the content immediately, within a minutes, within a seconds only. The time is one more important factor. And third one is deployment. So here UI developers are writing the code. So that code is HTML code and CSS code and JS code, and they are writing some content inside the web page. So they will write the code in their local machine. Once they have implemented one web page in their local machine, so they have to deploy that HTML page into the remote servers. They have to deploy the code into the remote server to access that page across all the world. So deployment is required. When your deployment is required, means sometimes you have to restart the server also. When you restart the server, your site will down few minutes or few seconds. So downtime also required here because of the regular development to deploy the web pages. And fourth drawback is default features. For every website, it requires the multiple default feature. Maybe login is one feature, and social media integration is one feature. Social media integration is one feature, and login and permissions and groups and workflows. So there the multiple features are required for majority of the cases. So in this case, we have to implement all these features from the scratch because we are not using any tools. So this is a plain application. Plain application. If it is plain application, for every feature we need to implement from the scratch. So this is also one more drawback. So these are the four different drawbacks in traditional way of implementing one website without any backend code or without any dynamic content. But if you are using CMS platforms, so we can create all the 100 pages by using 3 or 4 resources. With 3 or 4 resources, we can create all 100 web pages. All 100 web pages we can create by using 3 or 4 resources. And moreover, these 3 or 4 resources are not a technical people. They are non-technical people. Non-technical people. You know that the salary of the non-technical people is very less to compare with the technical people. So this CMS platform provide one user interface to create the content without writing the code. Without writing the code, this CMS platform provide user interfaces to create the content without writing any code. 3 to 4 resources. And second one is time. Just 5 minutes. On average, 5 minutes of time is enough to create one web page because coding is not required. So this CMS platform are providing UI. By using that UI, we can easily create the web page. Just 5 minutes of time is enough to create one web page. 5 minutes of time is enough to create one web page. And third one, deployment is not required. Deployment is not required. So because we can create the web pages directly into the server, no need to create inside your local machine and deploy into the server. Directly into the server, we can create one web page. Deployment is not required. If the deployment is not required, means downtime also 0. Server restarts are not required. If the server restarts are not required, means downtime also 0. Deployment is not required to create a content. And the CMS provide the default features. CMS provide the default feature. These features directly we can utilize in your project. No need to implement from the scratch. So including social media integrations and login, workflows and groups and permission and multi-site management. All of the features of the CMS platform. These features directly we can utilize. So these are the drawbacks of traditional way of implementing one website for this domain. But if you are using CMS platform, so these are the advantages. With 3 or 4 non-technical people, we can manage for content creation. Time, it will take hardly 5 minutes of time to create any breaking news web page. Deployment is not required because directly we are creating content inside the live servers. And default features we can utilize in our projects. So these are the advantages of the CMS platforms. Content management system platform. But we have the multiple content management systems are available in the market. So WordPress is one CMS platform. Joomla, Drupal, Sitecore, Adobe AEM, Contentful, Amplience, and OpenText. There is huge number of CMS platforms are available. So you may heard about this WordPress. This is one of the popular CMS platform to create small websites. Let's say if you have company website, in your company website, hardly monthly once or quarterly once will make the changes. So in that case, we can go with the WordPress because this is open source and free of cost only. Only it requires a deployment server. Directly you can use these WordPress CMS platforms. And Joomla and Drupal also PHP-based CMS platform. All three are PHP-based CMS platform. And Sitecore is .NET based and AEM is AEM is Java-based CMS platform. AEM is Java-based CMS platform. And this AEM provides all these features by default: social media integration and user management and group management and permissions. And it supports versioning. Versioning is nothing but backup of the content. In the regular intervals, if you want to take the backup of a particular page, we can create a versions. And it provides the search functionalities. So we can't imagine one website without search functionality. Search is a mandatory feature for every website. For example, if you go to Amazon.in, let's assume search is not working. And if you want to find out your product, maybe Lenovo Lenovo laptop you're trying to buy, it's really hard to find out your product without search, because they are selling some lakhs of products. Out of some lakhs of product, we have to identify your product. So search is a mandatory feature in majority of the cases. So by default, AEM provides some search APIs also to implement the search. And multilingual support. Sometimes multinational companies need to maintain a different website on different countries. Best example, Amazon. Amazon.in is Indian website. Amazon.com is a US-based website. Amazon.sc means Singapore website. For different countries, they are maintaining different website. This multilingual means multiple website for the same domain also we can manage with the AEM. So these workflows and publishing content we'll discuss later. These are the basic features by default AEM provides. By default AEM provides, and these are the list of the popular CMS platforms. The next question is, why do you prefer AEM as a CMS platform? So why don't you prefer the remaining platforms? So what are the advantages of the AEM to compare with the remaining CMS platforms? So if you're using Adobe AEM, there must be some advantage of the CMS platform to compare with other platforms. There must be some advantages. What are those advantages? The first advantage is integration with Marketing Cloud. Integration with Marketing Cloud. For every website, marketing is very important. If you have 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs of amount, you can build your own e-commerce platform. So building e-commerce platform is easy if you have the amount. But after building the website, so we have to market that website to reach the end users. So for Amazon.in, I am the end user. I should be able to log into the website and I should buy the product. So when the end user convert into the customer, then it create the revenue. So this conversion is very important. For conversion purpose, we need multiple tools: Adobe Analytics, Adobe Audience Manager, Adobe Campaign, Adobe Target, Adobe Social, and Adobe Prime Time. So we have some other also like Adobe CloudFront, Workfront Fusion, and Marketo. The multiple marketing platforms are available from Adobe. So it is easy to integrate AEM with this marketing cloud. Easy with AEM with the marketing cloud, because all products from Adobe, and by default Adobe provided some plugins to integrate AEM with analytics, AEM with audience manager and campaign and target. So we can easily sync the data in between these products. So this is one of the greatest advantages of AEM to compare with the remaining platforms. So if you are working in the WordPress, so we have to, after building the website, you need to integrate with analytics. Either you need to use Adobe Analytics or Google Analytics. Again, it requires some integration. But here, by default, AEM provides some plugins and features to integrate with AEM cloud platforms. So this is one of the greatest advantages to compare with the remaining CMS platforms. Remaining features are, so there is one module called Digital Asset Management in AEM. It provides a lot of new features to manage the assets. So here assets is nothing but images, documents, and videos. So when you upload the assets into the DAM, by default provide the multiple features. So this is one of the powerful module in AEM, Digital Asset Management. And we just discussed about this integration with marketing tools. So it is easy to integrate with the marketing and is easy to integrate with other cloud platforms also. If you want to integrate with AEM, Salesforce, or any other cloud platform, we can easily integrate. And by default, AEM provides the security. By default, AEM provides the security, user management, and group management, and permission management. So these things by default Adobe provides. So this feature we'll discuss later. So components is one of the features in AEM. By default, with AEM installation, Adobe provides multiple default components. So these components are most frequently used component for every project. So by default, AEM provides these features. And it creates a good authoring experience also. Authoring experience means creating content. If you want to create a new web page, either we can use desktop or you can use any mobile or any touch devices. So authoring support even touch devices also. So that is one more advantage with this AEM. We can use these touchable devices like mobiles and tabs or any touch laptops to create the content. It will support both touch devices as well as non-touchable devices. And SEO and user experience. By default, AEM provides search engine optimization feature. Search engine optimization feature. So this part I will cover as part of content fragment concept. And headless CMS also I will cover as part of content fragment. So this is one of the architecture, and this is one of the popular architecture in recent time to implement large projects like e-commerce project. To implement large project, headless CMS is best architecture. I will cover as part of the content fragment. And to publish the content, we can use this workflow management. Workflow management also one of the powerful feature in AEM. I did not cover all the powerful features here. So one of the powerful feature is MSM, multi-site management. So that is also one of the unique and powerful feature in AEM side. So these are the different powerful features of AEM to compare with the remaining CMS platforms. Okay, so in AEM side, we have 5 different modules: forms module and sites module and mobile module and assets module and community module. But out of 5, only 2 modules are required to build the website. One is sites module and assets module. Only these 2 modules are required. Either sites module we can use to build the website, and assets module can be useful to manage the assets like uploading images and documents and videos we can manage by using assets console. And forms module to build the forms. For every website, it requires the multiple forms, right? Like contact form, registration form, and sales form, and trial download form. So based on the clients, sometimes we have to create some hundreds of the forms. So these forms we can easily create by using this forms module. But majority of the cases, like 80 to 90% of the cases, we don't use this forms module. So there will be a separate team for forms. AEM forms team is completely different, and this skill is not required for the AEM developer. But if you have AEM forms knowledge, so that is an add-on to you, but not required to learn the forms. Forms is a separate product also available. Forms teams also completely different to compare with AEM. And community module to build the discussion forums. Like Stack Overflow. If you want to build any discussion forum by using this community model, we can use it. And mobile module to build the mobile applications. But these 3 modules are not required in the regular development, and no need to learn as an AEM beginner. Just focus on sites and assets module only. So as part of the training, I will cover site module feature as well as assets module features. Forms is a different product, and community also different product. And now the mobile applications also different product. So we don't need to learn as a beginner. Once you are familiar with sites module and assets module, then focus on these forms and community and mobile application implementations. So this is about different modules of AEM. So this is the history of AEM. AEM journey was started in 2000. Initially, this product was started by Day Software Solution. Day Software Solution is one of the product-based company. So they have started internal as an internal product in 2000, and then released CQ product with the different versions for every year 2000, 2002, 2005, 6, 8, and 9 and 10 until 2010. Day Software Solution provided different versions of CQ product. And then later in 2011, the first time the Day Software Solution acquired by the Adobe and released the first version. So this product was not started by the Adobe. So this product was started by Day Software Solution. But in 2011, the Day Software Solution acquired by the Adobe and released the first version, CQ 5.4. In 2012, 5.5, and 2013, the first time product name was changed from CQ to AEM, Adobe Experience Manager. AEM full form is Adobe Experience Manager. And then every year, Adobe releasing new version. 2013, AEM 5.6.1, and 2014, 6.0, 2015, 6.1, and 6.2, 6.3, and 6.4, and 6.5. 6.5. Until 2019, so different versions of AEM standard product standalone software is released. The first time in 2020, this product was converted to the cloud, migrated to the cloud. AEM as cloud services released in 2020 June. So at present, the majority of the projects running either 6.5 or AEM as a cloud services. Either 6.5 or AEM as a cloud services. 90% of the projects are running on AEM 6.4 and AEM as a cloud services. And maybe less than 5%, less than 5 to 10% of the projects are running with AEM 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3 and 6.4 version. But this training, we are going to use this AEM as a cloud services. So if you learn AEM as a cloud services, even we can work on 6.4 and 6.5 and 6.3 also. Because majority of the features are common. 80% of the features are common. Just 20% is different between 6.345 and AEM as cloud services. So if you complete training on AEM as cloud services, so if in case we got the project on AEM 6.5, so in this project also we can work. So even in the live training, so if you are interested to use AEM 6.5, I will provide executable jar file and I will provide a required service pack also. Install service pack and start using AEM 6.5. We can use AEM 6.5 or AEM as a cloud services, but I don't recommend to use AEM 6.4. Use either AEM 6.5 with the service pack or use AEM as a cloud services. These two are the recommended one for the training. But I'm going to use AEM as a cloud services for this entire training. I will provide executable jar file for the local installation. In the next session, I will show you how to install AEM as a cloud services in your local. AEM as a cloud services in your local. So before closing this session, let me explain what is the difference between AEM 6.5 and AEM as a cloud services. So why the customers are moving to AEM as a cloud services in new projects. All the old projects are running with AEM 6.5, 6.4, and 6.3 and 6.1, but the new customers are starting with AEM as a cloud services because we have some advantages with AEM as a cloud services. To compare with AEM 6.5, we have a lot of advantages with AEM as a cloud services. Even few existing customers also migrating from AEM 6.5, AEM 6.4 to AEM as a cloud services. AEM as a cloud services. So before discussing about differences between 6.5 and AEM as a cloud services, let's discuss about different teams in the project development. Different teams in the project development. The first one is AEM UI and UX team, also called design team. They will provide HTML and CSS and JavaScript files. And second team is AEM dev team. So we'll be the part of the AEM dev team, development team. So we will implement AEM features. So for example, AEM component is one feature and template is one feature. Template is one feature. These features will implement as an AEM developer. But to build this component, it requires HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So whatever the HTMLs and CSS and JavaScript provided by UIT, internally we use in component to build this component. So AEM dev team, development team. Of course, testing team is required for every project. AEM creating testing project for the testing of, and AEM CA team, content authoring. Content authoring. So content authoring team is a non-technical team. Content authoring team is a non-technical team. So they will create the content, means creating the website and creating the web pages and uploading assets into the AEM server and adding the content, modifying the content and remove the web pages and all code operations they can make in AEM server. AEM CA team, non-technical team. Non-technical team. CA means content authoring. Fifth one is admin team. So admin team is responsible to maintain the server, remote servers. Responsible to maintain the remote servers. So we need 4 different remote servers. One is dev server and create server and stay server and production server. 4 different remote servers are required. Prod server, also called live server. So when I access www.testco.com website from the browser, the request will go to prod server only. Prod server only. Production server. Prod means production server. So remaining 3 servers are for the testing purpose. So creation of these servers and maintaining the servers is admin team responsibility. Admin team responsibility. Dev environment creation, PA environment, stage environment, and production is live servers. All these remote servers they will create and manage. And 6th team is marketing team. Marketing team like SEO team, search engine optimizations, analytics teams. So there will be multiple different teams inside this marketing. So here the major difference between 6.5 and AEM as a cloud services. AEM as a cloud services. Admin team. Admin team is not required. Admin team is not required to manage remote servers. So Adobe provided Cloud Manager tool. By using the Cloud Manager tool, even non-technical people also can easily create a new server. Within 20 minutes of time, we can easily create a new server, new remote server. But in normal cases, in 6.5, if we want to create one environment, it required at least 1 or 2 days of time. In AEM 6.5, if you want to build, means admin team want to build the dev server, at least 2 days of time is required. 2 days of time is required to build one web server, to build one environment. It required one Linux server setup is required, and Java installation, and author server, and publish server. So multiple activities they have to take care. Multiple activities, author server, publish server, Apache web server. And don't try to remember these steps. This is not required for developers. And dispatcher setup and replication agents and domain configurations and SSL certificate configuration. So these many steps are required to set up one environment. But in AEM as a cloud services, all the steps are automated. So we don't need to set up this Linux server, Java installation is required, author server installation, publish server, Apache web server, dispatcher setup, application agent, domain configuration, SSL configuration. All the steps are automated. Login into AEM as a cloud services. So if you want to create AEM as a cloud services dev environment, create login into Cloud Manager. Cloud Manager is one tool. Login into the Cloud Manager, click on add environment. Within 20 minutes, we can create the environment. Within 20 minutes, we can create the environment. So this is one advantage of the AEM cloud. Within 20 minutes, we can create a new environment. But in 6.5, it required 1 or 2 days of time to set up one environment. This is creation, only for creation. To create one environment, at least 2 days of time required here. But here, only 20 minutes is enough to create one new environment. So after creation, we have to maintain the environment, right? The regular backups is required, and health check is required on daily basis, and upgrades. If there is a new updates from Adobe, we need to upgrade, and service pack installation. So these are the steps. These are the regular activities again admin team has to do. Even these steps, these maintenance steps also automated in AEM as a cloud services without any manual interaction. So this automatically will take the backup. It will check the health check also. If there is any issue, it will check automatically. If there is any new update from Adobe, automatically it will install into the remote servers without any manual interaction. Service packs also same. If there is any new service pack is released from Adobe, automatically it will install into the remote servers without any manual interaction. All these steps, creation and maintenance steps, are automated. Creation and maintenance steps are automated. And next step is deployment. So deployment also admin team responsibility or DevOps team responsibility. Creates CI/CD pipelines. CI/CD pipeline for deployment. Creation of the CI/CD pipelines. Jenkins setup. And to set up the Jenkins Linux servers also required. And Git repository setup. And create connection from Jenkins to remote servers. So these are the deployment related steps. So these steps also automated. We don't need to set up the Jenkins. In the Cloud Manager, by default, it provides deployment pipelines. By using that UI, in 1 or 2 minutes, we can create a new CI/CD pipeline for the deployment. No need to set up the Jenkins, and no need to set up the Linux server, and no need to set up the Git also. By default, Adobe provides Git repository also. So this Git repository will connect with the CI/CD pipelines. And this connection also not required. All the steps are automated. In simple terms, in the cloud services, admin tasks and deployment team tasks are automated. These two tasks are automated. Admin team tasks and deployment team tasks are automated. So without any manual interaction, we can create, we can manage the remote servers. So we don't need to set up these Linux servers. Installations are not required. Internally taken AIM as a cloud services. And development wise, 80% of the concepts are same in between 6.5 and AIM as a cloud services. Only 10 to 15% will change in between AIM 6.5 and cloud. So for example, SCD, Sling Content Distribution, and Sling Repo Init, and Cloud Dispatcher setup, and Cloud Manager. So these are the new features in the training. So as part of this training, I will cover these new concepts also.